talking about reactivating past clients for easy cash. So, a lot of times people are thinking, small business owners are thinking about how can I generate more income? Where can I get new eyeballs? Where can I get new leads? They're forgetting about previous clients they've worked with that they enjoyed and that they still believe that they can get them results, yet they don't think to reach out to them. Here's the question I want to ask you. How much money are you leaving on the table not following up with your best clients that are no longer with you? All right. So let me tell you a little story. We bought an RV about a year and a half ago. This is our second summer using RV. And I will tell you, when we first got it, I think we bought it in maybe March. And if you know anything about camping and RVs and all of this, the time to get the RV spot is a year before it really even opens, right? So we're in like February, March, and we want to get a spot for Memorial Day weekend, which is it was really slim pickings. Okay. So we had one option, maybe two options. We go with the first one that actually calls us back. We decide to do it. We are RVing. We're like, oh yeah, it was fun. It was good. You know, there's no over the top reaction. It was just like, yeah, we liked it. It was good, right? And then we kept going and going to different places. So we would check out another campground and another campground. And all of a sudden, we start to realize, or we started to compare how often we were talking about the first campground, right? All of a sudden we realized like, wow, the spaces were so big and you had room in between each RV. And, you know, there was all those hiking trails and there's like the dog park and not every place has a dog park. And, it was just like, wow, we realized how good we had it after we had experienced other businesses. Does that make sense? I want you to understand that happens with clients. They leave thinking, yeah, it was a good experience. Like, yeah, great. Okay, it was good. And try something else, right? And how many times do they try something else and quickly realize, I kind of want to go back to that place, right? So we want to be thinking about how to remind people, all right? And that's something I want to ask you is, are people forgetting about you? Are you staying top of mind with previous clients, right? However many clients, I should say or I should ask you this, how many clients might be thinking they may not even be welcome back? Or they feel funny that they left and went to your competitor and they're like, oh, I bet she knows that. Like, oh, that'd be so awkward if I'm like, oh, here I am, right? Or maybe they just plain forgot about you and the experience that they had with you, right? So we are always trying to remind people, or as they leave people, we are always trying to leave on great terms, letting them know that they are welcome back at any time they feel we could provide a service for them again, right? We want them to know you are always welcome here. How do we do that? By saying it, right? Whether somebody shoots us an email or they're on the phone or they're in person and they're like, oh, we're trying something new. She's going to, especially with my dance school, right? Maybe she's going to try out soccer. And we're like, hey, no, totally get it. Definitely try it out. And if she doesn't like it as much or she wants to add dance back in or music, like we're here, like we'd love to see you again, right? The more you can let them know, the better. Okay. So the question now becomes, how can we remind them? Okay. This is where what we call reactivating comes into play. So this is one of the concepts that we teach inside of Well-Oiled Operations. And if you're one of our clients, we go very detailed into what that process is. Now, if you want to kind of think about what this looks like, and maybe you're one of our previous clients, you're like, oh, I see what she's doing. I see what she did here, right? Maybe you've gotten one of our reactivation campaigns. So we're going to talk right now about how do you create a reactivation strategy? And I'll kind of share a little bit of what we've done. I will say this. If you've ever gotten a reactivation, please know it means we liked working with you. We still think we can get you results. We do not reactivate all of our clients or attempt to reactivate all of our clients. Let's be real. Some people you don't want to come back. You hope they think of somebody else and not think of you, right? So how do we create a reactivation strategy? All right. So step number one is you want to identify who you want to reactivate. This should be something that you do right away as they leave you. Okay. So let me just break this down for a minute. What I mean by this is if you're going back through, like, let's say right now, I have never done this before, and I'm thinking, well, who could I reactivate? I might only think of a few people versus creating a solid list of everybody you want to reactivate. Okay. So when somebody leaves you, or leaves us, I should say, we immediately question, would we ever want to bring them back on as a client? Okay. So we're putting them into a list of a reactivation group to say, yes, keep these people on top of mind, keep reaching back out, etc. Right. Make sure they know that we're the place they need to keep coming to. Okay. Now, we also identify, we do this in a couple of different ways. I mean, like, let's say somebody just doesn't pay, right? You've got that client who always pays late, always needs payment plans. Like they're just like, it's just not great, right? I mean, in the studio, it's a little bit easier because we can say, like, your child can't keep coming if you're not paying, right? But there are definitely situations where we have racked up payments where they owe us too much money, right? I definitely am so much better at that today than I ever was 20 years ago. It was really bad. Like sometimes people could come to me for like 7 months and not have paid me like the entire time, but they kept promising and they were going to do it next paycheck and all the things, right? So you identify who you want to reactivate, meaning assess your relationship. Did you like working with them? Did they pay on time? Were they a great customer? We've had people that leave who just complain all the time, like constantly complain about our program, our studio, our you name it. Okay. We will literally mark them down. We call them like a problem account. I actually think that's what it's called in the software we use. We didn't make up that name. It was just, you can list it. It's a problem account. So it red flags us as, do not reach back out to these people. This was not a joy to work with them. Right? So you want to make sure that you're doing this in real time and not like all of a sudden. I mean, today is going to be harder for some of you because you've never thought to do this before. So you are going to kind of make that list from scratch. But in the future, moving forward, I want you to do it in real time. Okay, number 2, I want you to create a rhythm of a touch point. Okay. How often would it be necessary, or would you feel good about reaching out to this list? Okay. And how are you going to reach out to them? So let's say I put these reactivation people on a separate email list. Well, I could be writing them special emails where it's just like value driven. They feel great about it, right? Versus a direct pitch of, hey, you haven't been with us in 6 months. Do you want to come back? Right. So you want to ask yourself, what will the rhythm look like, feel like? What's the frequency? You want to make sure that you're not pitching too often, right? Or that you're becoming annoying because you're constantly reaching out, but you want to find that sweet spot, right? The direct ask when the timing is right. Okay. So before you ever go into that ask, that's step number 3, you want to make sure that it really is somebody you feel good about and you really truly believe you can give them what they're looking for. So I'm not trying to reactivate somebody I didn't get results and I don't believe I can get them results. What would be the point of that, right? I am reactivating people, whether it's in foot traffic, people that I look at their business and I think like, oh my goodness, like they need to be in here. Like this is exactly what we teach them. This is exactly what we do. And I will tell you the RV story that I shared in the beginning, it happens a lot in especially like a foot traffic type business. People think, okay, well, I like it. It was good. Oh, but there's this other strategy. Or like, oh my goodness, Pinterest is a thing. I'm going to go learn Pinterest right now. Or, oh my goodness, I need to learn this. And they don't do this yet. So I'm going to go over here. Right. And they jump ship, even though they were getting results with us. Right. And then they go to the other place and it might not be as good. They may not be as wowed. Again, I want them to know we're here for them. And sometimes it just needs to come through as a direct ask when the timing is right. Okay. So what does that look like? Now, it could be just a, hey, how's it going? I haven't talked to you in 6 months. Fill me in. What's going on? What have you been up to? And then you like in the studio, I would say, how's it going? How is she enjoying soccer? Here, I would say, how is business? What have you been up to? I know you said you wanted to hit this revenue. Did you get it? Right. We're trying to feel them out for what is going on. They might say, well, she actually just quit soccer, or, soccer's just not really for her. I don't think this is going to work out. And then that is the direct ask to say, well, does she want to come back and try a different style of dance, or does she want to try to take music, or how do we get them going? If somebody in foot traffic hasn't made progress since they've left us, we're like, remember when you were here, and remember how we were constantly holding you accountable and you were getting results? If your results have slowed down, like, let's get you back in, let's get you back on track, right? So bring the direct ask when the timing is right. Step 4, this is a big one. Tell them what is new. Okay. They may have left 2 years ago, and they might be thinking about you and your business, but the 2-year-old version of you. And you might be so much better. Like, I can tell you right now, if you haven't been in my program in 2 years in foot traffic, you have not been in our programs. Like, you do not even understand the level we are giving people right now. Same thing with our studio. If you haven't been in our studio in a few years, we're always changing, we're always modifying, we're always adding things in. And the idea here is maybe it was okay before, they liked you, but it was missing something. Maybe what you've got going on now is the thing they always wanted. Tell them what is going down. Tell them what is being added to your programs, right? Now, maybe even allow them to come back and test it, experience it, right? So if I said to the soccer player, hey, I know she was taking ballet and you had said like it just wasn't as fun or upbeat for her. Well, like, why don't you come in and try a free jazz class or hip hop class, or right? Just come try for free. Like, I want to see if she likes it. Like, no cost to you. Like, let's just have her test it. That feels so much easier, right? Than going immediately for let's get her back in. Okay. And maybe you will. I think there's time and a place, and the person, right? You need to use your own judgment here to figure out what is best for them, right? Now, as far as, giving them updates, letting them try it out, how can you give them a little bit more of a taste? What can you do for them to go, maybe I should check this out again, or maybe I do need to look into this a little bit more, right? What can you be doing? So let me recap. Identify in real time who you want to reactivate. Okay. Create a rhythm of a touch point. So if somebody leaves you today, are you going to follow up next week, or is that way too soon? Are you going to follow up a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now? When would it make sense for you to follow up? Okay. If you told me you were quitting today and I reached out to you in 2 days, it doesn't make sense. What am I reaching out to you for? Unless I'm reaching out just to say, we're here for you when the time is right, right? But you want to ask yourself, what would make the most sense? Is it a 30 days, from now? Is it 6 months from now? Is it 3 months? Is it once a quarter? Figure out what makes sense for you and your industry. Then go to the direct ask when the timing is right. Okay. Number 4, tell them what's new, and maybe even give them a way to sample it, to taste test it out. Like, what is that little thing you can gift them? And remember, this is a much higher quality lead than you just marketing. Why? Because they already bought from you before. This is somebody who spends money, and they spent money with you. They're a very high quality lead. Now, the only way this doesn't work well for you is if you did not give them a great experience. If they were not happy when they left, if they really did feel like they needed something else, it might be a lot harder to convince them that you've got something else worth giving. So just know that if you're like, Stacey, I tried this reactivation thing, it's not working. You're either not doing the reactivation strategy in the way we do it, at the level we do it, or it's the program, product, or service you sell. They don't see value in it to reactivate. That is hard to hear. Trust me, even today at the level we're at, there is still, like, even at the studio, like, it's possible they had a new teacher and not a great experience. It's possible that something happened, or we had somebody quit on us last minute and we had to bring in another teacher and it just wasn't an ideal situation. It's possible they don't want to reactivate. So I don't want you thinking this doesn't work. Trust me, It works, and it is something we do over and over and over again in our business with our most favorite clients, our dream clients that we know we can help provide the solution to the problem they have. Okay. Now, if you want our ways to wow cheat sheet, this is basically all different ways we like to wow our customers because, again, they will never reactivate if they did not have a great experience. You could use this to try to reactivate. You could put in a few wows in the reactivation process. So if you want this, comment below where you're watching this, the word wow. Or if you're listening to this, there's no place to comment. I want you to DM me on Instagram at Stacey Tuschel, the word wow, and I'm going to send that over to you. All right. We've got a lot of great content coming up, so stay tuned. Next week, we're actually going to be talking about some behind the scenes stuff we've got going on here at Foot Traffic. We're going to be talking about an up level of your branding and how that up level can really set the tone and help you generate more income, more revenue, because people start to look and go, especially when I say reactivating old clients and, oh, it's a different business. They're not going to believe it's a new business when they are like there's new things or new exciting opportunities when it looks like the same old business they already had frequented, right? But when you update the branding or your building or your staff or whatever, right, it gets people excited. So stay tuned because that is going to be next week's podcast. If you didn't already, comment the word wow below. We'll get that wow cheat sheet over to you, or DM me on Instagram at Stacey Tuschel. We will send it over. All right. Have a phenomenal rest of your week. I will see you soon. Bye, everyone.